When my husband's colleague crossed a line, you won't believe the unfolding of events. We invite you to embrace the moment by liking the video, sharing your reflections in the comments, and subscribing to journey with us through our latest tales. Never did I imagine I would be caught in such a delicate moment, balancing my devotion to my husband with the disquieting truth of recent events. Yet, life has a mysterious way of guiding you into unexpected moments. Moments that compel you to reevaluate all that you believed about trust, respect, and your own essence. It began on a crisp autumn evening, the air filled with a gentle promise. My husband, Brian, had warmly invited a few colleagues over for an intimate dinner gathering. It was a familiar occurrence. Brian had dedicated nearly 20 years to his firm, and throughout that time, I had developed a deep familiarity with many of his colleagues. Some had blossomed into friendships, individuals with whom I would share holiday greetings and engage in light conversation at company gatherings. Yet, among them, Jason stood apart. Jason had recently embarked on his journey with the company, having stepped through its doors about a year ago. He was a few years younger than Brian, perhaps in his early 40s, exuding a confidence and charm that seemed to draw others in effortlessly. He possessed a unique ability to transform each conversation into a shared moment, where every compliment felt like a cherished whisper meant solely for you. It wasn't until that night that I found myself truly reflecting on it. We envisioned a lovely dinner together. The house was filled with the fragrant embrace of rosemary and garlic from the roasted chicken in the oven, while the flickering candlelight cast a soft, inviting glow throughout the space. Brian radiated joy, his laughter mingling with the warm conversations of his coworkers, while I embraced the role of the attentive host, ensuring drinks flowed and everyone felt at ease. Jason made his entrance a bit later than the rest, holding a bottle of wine and wearing his familiar, charming smile. "Hope I'm not too late to the gathering," he said, offering me the wine as his fingers lingered over mine, a touch that felt just a moment too long. I brushed aside the fleeting unease, attributing it to the whims of my mind. The evening unfolded, and as the drinks poured, the conversations blossomed with warmth and connection. Brian was engrossed in a conversation with his boss about an upcoming project, while I was caught in a dialogue with Jason. He was as captivating as ever. Yet there was an undercurrent in his words this evening, something deeper, more intense. "You know, Sarah," he said, his voice flowing like a gentle caress. "It's clear that Brian has found himself in a fortunate position." I chuckled softly, letting the remark drift away. "I like to believe that fortune smiles upon me as well." Jason leaned in gently, his eyes filled with warmth. "If I were in his place, I believe I would always want to be near you." There it was, that undeniable change in atmosphere. A flutter of tension stirred within me. I sensed he shared my feelings. I remarked softly, wishing to gently redirect our discussion. Yet Jason remained resolute. As the night unfolded, his words grew more daring, subtle yet seemingly innocent observations that, when woven together, revealed a deeper, more deliberate intention. A lingering touch on my arm, a gaze that seemed to weigh upon me, and a soft whisper brushed against my ear, sending an unexpected shiver down my spine. I reassured myself that I was perhaps being too dramatic. Perhaps it was the wine that stirred something within. Perhaps it was simply the allure of Jason's innate charisma. As the evening drew to a close and Brian bid farewell to the final guests, Jason lingered for a moment, savoring the lingering atmosphere. "It was truly lovely to share this moment with you tonight," he said. His voice had dropped to a husky murmur, his expression a captivating enigma. "I long for the chance to experience this once more. Perhaps only the two of us." At some point, my breath hitched. For a fleeting moment, doubt crept in, leaving me uncertain if I had truly grasped his words. Yet the gaze in his eyes, accompanied by the subtle curve of his lips, revealed to me that I had indeed made an impression. Before I had the chance to speak, Brian came back, warmly placing a hand on Jason's shoulder. "I'm so pleased you could join us, my friend. Take care on the road." Jason offered a soft smile, his gaze lingering on mine for a fleeting moment before he turned and stepped through the door. I remained still, my heart racing with intensity. Could it be that what just unfolded was real? Brian's voice barely reached me as he secured the doors for the night. His tone carefree and oblivious to the weight of the moment. That felt quite lovely, wouldn't you agree? It felt as though everyone was wrapped in a warm embrace of joy. I summoned a smile. Indeed, it was a delightful evening. As I reclined in bed that night, gazing at the ceiling, an undeniable sense lingered within me. A whisper of change in the air. A shift had occurred. And within me, I sensed that this was far from finished. The following morning, I awoke to a peculiar weight resting in my heart. The house held a serene stillness, broken only by the soft, familiar sound of Brian in the kitchen, likely preparing his cherished Saturday morning coffee. I reassured myself that I was simply overanalyzing, that Jason was merely embodying his typical, enchanting demeanor, and that I had perhaps interpreted his words with too much depth. Yet, despite my efforts to push it away, the echo of his voice, the depth of his gaze, the gentle brush of his fingers against mine, clung to me like an unshakable presence. I gently set my thoughts aside and rose from the warmth of the bed, enveloping myself in my robe as I made my way downstairs. "Good morning, Han," Brian said softly, a warm smile gracing his lips as he offered me a steaming mug of coffee. "Did you rest well?" "Indeed," I deceived, savoring the moment with a sip. He remained unaware of my uncertainty, seamlessly transitioning to his next idea. "Oh, and I received a message from Jason this morning. He expressed that he truly enjoyed our time together last night and is eager to meet again soon." I almost sputtered on my coffee. Brian appeared oblivious. I suggested that we embark on a double date together, perhaps an intimate dinner at that charming new steakhouse downtown. My heart fluttered with uncertainty. Every fiber of my being urged me to decline, to conjure an excuse, any justification to steer clear of sharing the same space with Jason once more. Yet, what was I meant to do? Please let my husband know that his colleague has overstepped boundaries. I am uncertain of their intentions, but their actions have left me feeling uneasy. I lacked tangible evidence, yet a deep intuition stirred within me. Instead, I summoned a smile. "That feels lovely." Brian smiled warmly. "Wonderful. I'll take care of the arrangements." The week that followed, I endeavored to push the entire experience from my mind. I immersed myself in a flurry of activities, reconnecting with old friends and engaging in tasks that distracted me from the tender memories of Jason. But then, unexpectedly, a message appeared on my screen. "Jason. Greetings, Sarah. I hope your day is unfolding beautifully. I find myself lost in thoughts of our conversation from the other night." A flutter stirred within me. I gazed at the message, my fingers lingering just above the keyboard. Perhaps I could have turned away. Maybe I should have let it slip by. Yet, a part of me yearned to express that what he believed was unfolding was not the reality. "Is it me? Hello, Jason. It seems there may have been a slight miscommunication. I am in a joyful marriage, and I kindly ask that we maintain a professional relationship." I pressed send and exhaled softly, wishing that this moment would draw to a close. Moments later, my phone vibrated softly once more. "Jason, absolutely, Sarah, I appreciate that sentiment. Simply expressing a thought. What if circumstances had taken a different turn?" I tightened my jaw. He continued, unwavering. I chose to remain silent. 2 days later, the double date unfolded. I thought about backing out, crafting a reason to avoid it, yet I hesitated, not wanting to stir any doubts. So, I arrived, adorned in a simple navy dress, my face reflecting a calm yet inviting demeanor. When we arrived, Jason and his wife, Claire, were already nestled in their seats, creating an inviting atmosphere. Claire possessed a gentle spirit, her voice a soothing melody, radiating kindness. She gazed at her husband with an adoration that suggested he was the very center of her universe. It stirred a deep unease within me. Jason exuded a captivating charm, weaving humor into the air, his presence vibrant and engaging. as if the past had never cast a shadow. But I noticed it, the fleeting looks exchanged when the world faded away, the gentle touch of his knee against mine beneath the table, the way he leaned in just a fraction too close while offering me the wine bottle. A sense of confinement enveloped me. And then, at one moment during the evening, as Claire and Brian engaged in conversation, Jason leaned in and whispered softly, just for my ears, "You're even more beautiful when you're nervous." I stood still, caught in the moment. My heart raced, a thrilling tension coursing through me as I turned to meet his gaze. He offered a smirk, delicate and fleeting, almost lost in the moment. I found myself at a crossroads, faced with two distinct paths. Allow it to drift away, as I have done in the past, or bring this to a close at this moment. I inhaled deeply, then let my voice rise, ensuring that Brian and Claire could catch every word. "Jason, I feel that the way you're speaking to me isn't quite right." A hush enveloped the table. Brian's gaze lifted suddenly. Claire's eyes fluttered, a wave of uncertainty washing over her. And Jason, he simply gazed at me, the playful smile fading as the weight of my actions settled in. Brian's brow furrowed in contemplation. "Excuse me?" Jason released a soft, strained chuckle. It was merely a playful jest. "It didn't seem like one," I replied softly. Claire glanced back and forth between us, a hint of concern etching her features. "Jason," he gently shook his head, a soft smile gracing his lips. "It was merely a moment of confusion. Let's keep this comfortable." Yet, the tension lingered, and I found myself unfazed. Brian gazed at me, a mix of uncertainty and care in his eyes. "Sarah, how are you feeling?" As our gazes locked, I allowed him to glimpse the depths of my soul for the very first time. I found myself confessing that I no longer wished to remain in this place. Brian chose to remain silent, allowing the moment to linger in the air between them. He simply nodded and rose to his feet. "Then let us embark on this journey together." Jason parted his lips, a hint of words lingering in the air, but I chose not to linger for the sound. I took my purse in hand, casting a soft, regretful glance at Claire before stepping out of the restaurant. My husband beside me, a comforting presence in the evening air. I found myself in a moment of uncertainty, unsure of what the future held. Yet, there was an undeniable certainty that this was far from finished. The journey home in the car was filled with a gentle stillness. Brian's eyes flickered in my direction, a silent invitation for words that lingered unspoken between us. I found myself lost in the view outside, my mind a maze of emotions and reflections. At last, as we glided into the driveway, his voice broke the silence. "Sarah, can you share what unfolded in that moment?" I released a breath, my fingers tightening around my purse. "Help me express this in a way that feels right. Come and explore what I have to offer." His voice was soft, yet it carried an undercurrent of something deeper, perhaps worry, or a hint of frustration. I faced him, selecting my words with intention. "Jason has been stirring feelings of unease within me." Brian's brow knitted together in thought. "Could you clarify what you mean?" I took a deep breath. That evening after dinner at our home, he felt intimately close. The way his fingers brushed against my hand, the intensity of his gaze upon me, I let it slip away, dismissing it as inconsequential. Yet, a few days later, he reached out, sharing that thoughts of our conversation lingered in his mind. Brian's fingers curled around the steering wheel, a subtle tension coursing through him. And this evening, I pressed on. He whispered something that lingered in the air between us. I attempted to manage it by myself. Yet I came to understand that silence would only prolong the struggle. Brian's jaw tightened, his knuckles pale with tension. "Sarah, why did you keep this from me for so long?" I confessed, uncertain if it was merely a figment of my imagination. "I held back, considering your connection with him, not wanting to complicate things for you in your professional life." Brian shook his head, his eyes deep with an intensity I seldom witnessed. Intensity. "You are my beloved partner. Your needs are my priority. Forever." His words wrapped around me, creating a warmth that eased the weight in my chest, allowing me to finally draw in a breath. Yet, This was far from the end. The following morning, I stirred awake to discover Brian in the kitchen, a cup of foam cradled in his hand, his face reflecting a mix of emotions. "What troubles your heart?" I inquired. He exhaled softly, savoring the moment. Jason reached out to me through a message. He's attempting to maintain a facade of normalcy, expressing a desire that the events of last night didn't stir any unwanted tension. I let out a soft, dismissive laugh. Unwanted tension. Incredible. Brian's gaze met mine. I wish for you to be free from this burden at last. I planned to have a heartfelt conversation with him at work. In person. My heart fluttered with uncertainty. Do you truly feel that way? He stepped beyond what was acceptable. Brian expressed with conviction. Time and again, I must express that this is not acceptable. There was a warmth in his voice that hinted he would pursue this further. And truthfully, it brought me a sense of comfort. That afternoon, while Brian was at work, I attempted to carry on with my day as normal. Yet an undeniable sense lingered within me. A whisper that Jason would not simply fade away from this moment without leaving a mark. And I knew it all along. As the clock approached 3 p.m., a gentle vibration stirred my phone. Jason, I feel like our connection started on a shaky note. May we share a moment together? Only we exist in this moment. A shiver coursed through me. No response. Moments later, a new message appeared. Jason, please, Sarah. Let's approach this with maturity. I clenched my jaw, my heart racing with intensity. The boldness. I decided to cut off communication with him. Then I reached out to Brian. When Brian returned home that evening, he appeared weary yet resolute. What transpired? I inquired as he gently placed his briefcase on the floor. He gently tousled his hair, a soft sigh escaping his lips. I faced him. I felt a wave of tension wash over me, and Brian let out a breath, filled with unspoken feelings. Initially, he attempted to play it off as a lighthearted jest, suggesting that my feelings were exaggerated. Yet, I expressed my feelings openly. He is to remain out of your life from this moment forward. Always. And if he so much as casts a glance your way that feels off, I'll ensure our boss is fully aware of the true nature of his character. I gently bit my lip, and he simply embraced that reality. Brian's expression deepened with intensity. Initially, it wasn't that way. He became guarded. You called me absurd, suggesting that you were taking control of the situation. Yet, I expressed to him that my trust in you was unwavering. And that marked the conclusion of our conversation. A wave of emotion surged within me, tightening my throat. Did you truly go through with that? Indeed, I did, he murmured gently. Sarah, my support for you will never waver. No one should have to face such challenges in solitude. An overwhelming wave of feeling washed over me. For days, I had been enveloped in a sense of confinement, grappling with my emotions and the uncertainty of how to navigate the situation. All while my thoughts lingered on Brian and the impact it might have on him. Yet here I was, in our shared space, the steady conviction in his voice stirring emotions within me that had long been dormant. Secure, I enveloped him in my embrace, drawing him close to me. I'm grateful. His lips gently brushed the crown of my head. Your safety is something I cherish deeply. And there's no need for gratitude. And for the first time in days, I felt a deep sense of trust in him. Yet, beneath the surface, an undeniable sensation lingered within me. Jason possessed a resolute spirit that made him reluctant to yield. I found myself questioning whether this truly marked the end. I longed to convince myself that it had come to an end. Brian's warning lingered in Jason's mind, compelling him to retreat and never look back. Yet, beneath the surface, an understanding lingered within me, and I knew it all along. 2 days later, as I navigated the grocery store, guiding my cart through the vibrant produce aisle, an undeniable sensation washed over me. In essence, a shadow that hovers, almost intimate in its presence. I turned, and a wave of emotion washed over me. Jason. He lingered a few feet away, his gaze drifting over a row of apples as if he were drawn to their vibrant allure. savoring the moment as if it were a serendipitous encounter. Yet, I was aware of the truth within me. The shop lay on the other side of town from his workplace. He found himself here without a clear purpose. My heart raced with anticipation. I contemplated walking away, yet a part of me held back. Unwilling to reveal my vulnerability to him, I straightened my posture, grasped a bag of oranges, and pretended he was a mere shadow in the room. Yet, he remained oblivious to the subtle cues. "Sarah," he murmured softly, "what a delightful surprise to find you here." I remained silent. He moved nearer. "There's no reason for unkindness. It seems there may have been a gentle miscommunication between us." I turned to face him, my heart racing with anticipation. "There's a clarity between us. Jason, you have ventured into a space that feels too close. And it's best for you to keep your distance from me now." His smile wavered. "Let's embrace this moment. There's no need for theatrics." Intense? My voice was soft yet resolute. "Reaching out to me after I cut off our connection? Arriving in this moment? That feels unusual, Jason." His expression shifted, and in that moment, I caught a glimpse of the truth beneath the surface. "Less than text, you know," he said, tilting his head, a hint of warmth in his voice. "Brian is truly fortunate. Take care, Sarah. A woman like you draws the gaze of those around her." Some of it was less than favorable. A shiver coursed through me. This was something deeper than mere persistence. This served as a gentle reminder. Our eyes locked, and I held my ground, determined not to reveal the tremor within me. "Are you implying something towards me?" Jason raised his hands, a familiar, playful smile gracing his lips. "Not in the slightest, simply sharing a thought." I turned and walked away, my hands trembling with unspoken feelings. I left my cart behind and hurried to my car. Securing the doors as soon as I settled in, my phone found its way into my hand, almost as if it had a magnetic pull, before I even became aware of the gesture. I reached out to Brian. Brian returned home sooner than he typically did that evening. He was consumed by a deep, seething intensity. "Did he pursue you?" he inquired, his voice laced with a simmering intensity. "Indeed," I replied, and it wasn't merely an unsettling moment. "Brian." He was attempting to evoke a sense of fear within me. Brian let out a breath, moving restlessly around the kitchen. "That's all there is. I'm ready to embrace my true feelings." I took a deep breath. "What will you choose to embrace?" His gaze found mine. "I'm heading to see our boss. And if that doesn't resolve things, I will have to reach out to our Jason is not afforded this opportunity. Not for you. To no one at all." For the first time since this began, I sensed a change stirring within me. A burden eased, for I found solace in shared experience. Jason attempted to diminish my strength, yet I remained unwavering. Not any longer. The following day, Brian took the step of submitting a formal complaint to our. It seemed Jason came to understand the weight of his actions, for by the week's close, he had chosen to step away from the company. Whispers traveled quickly, hinting at personal motivations and the allure of fresh possibilities beyond. Yet, Brian and I were aware of the deeper reality. He had departed, and for the first time in weeks, I felt the air fill my lungs once more. That weekend, Brian and I lingered on the back porch, captivated by the beauty of the sunset. "Are you feeling all right?" he inquired softly, his fingers intertwining with mine. I inclined my head in understanding. "Yes, I believe I have reached that point at last." Brian breathed out softly, his thumb gliding gently over my hand. I wish I had recognized it earlier. I ought to have. I severed our connection. No, he was the source of the issue. Not you. Your presence was my solace in moments of vulnerability. That is what truly holds significance. He drew me near, placing a gentle kiss on my forehead. "Forever." I smiled softly, leaning my head against his shoulder. This entire experience had been a tumultuous journey, yet it revealed profound truths about myself, about Brian, and the deep bond we shared. Jason had attempted to release me from his grasp. Yet ultimately, he only served to illuminate the depth of my own strength.